Good afternoon, family. Thanks for checking out today's broadcast. If you're new here, my name is Jonathan, and I created this channel as I work towards my goal of losing 300 pounds in 3 years. If you do enjoy my videos, make sure you like the video. Also, subscribe to the channel and click on that bell icon so you get alerted when I go live or post new videos. If you'd like to participate in on the discussion, you can join me on my live streams most weekdays, or outside of my live streams, consider joining our Discord. There's a link for that down in the description below. Also, if you're interested in getting some ideas of the meals that we enjoy, we've created a link to a Pinterest board that has some of our family's favorite whole food plant-based meals. Today is day 545 of my 3-year challenge to lose 300 pounds. I've used a combination of extended water fasting and a whole food plant-based salt, oil, sugar-free diet to lose over 210 pounds. I'm very close to that halfway mark, just 2 days away from being at the halfway mark. I hope to lose a lot of the weight within the next crunchy, huh? Let me see what I could do about crunchy. Sorry, somebody just texted or chatted that it was a little off. Let me see if this helps. Is that any better? Let me know. I just turn it off again, turn it off and turn it back on again, right? I'm halfway through. I'm looking forward to reaching my goal weight and then maintaining that weight through the end of the challenge and then for the rest of my life. If anybody has any non-scale victories they'd like to share, I'd love to hear your non-scale victories. If you haven't started your diet, still a little crunchy. One other thing I can do. Is that any better? Let me know if that improved it. Yeah, let me know your non-scale victories, how you're doing on your diet, things like that. Let me see. I might have this. Hello, hello, hello. I don't have monitor on, so I can't hear it. We'll just go in and way better. There we go. All right. I'm taking that as a better, or you just got sick of me trying to fix the problem on stream. So it's good. Works for me. So, yeah. How are you guys doing on your diets? Why haven't you started your diet yet? If you're waiting to start, why are you waiting? If you've fallen off track, what are you doing to get back on track? How are you making staying to your diet or getting back on your diet easier than the alternative? Because if it was easier, you'd be doing it. The reason why you're not staying on your diet is because you've determined that doing whatever you're doing now is easier than actually going on a diet and working towards your weight loss goals. So we're going to switch over to the main page. All right. Today, more than any other day that I have gone live, I have had, today more than any other day, I have had less time to prepare. I was in meetings from 10 a.m. this morning until 15 minutes ago. And even at that, I probably could have been doing, I could probably still be working and it wouldn't be a bad thing. So I do not have a ton to add today. So if you guys have any questions, I'd love to hear your questions, but we're going to go over food last night. Yesterday I got home and I was presented or greeted with a big bowl of salad And just like every time I see a big bowl of salad, I go, oh, salad. And then I take that big bowl of salad. Let me put it up on the main screen so everybody can see what last night's salad looked like. I took that salad, threw some of our mustard dressing on it, and I ate that stuff up. And it's so good. I just still have this mentality, and it's really hard to even see. I love it's. So this bowl that I have this photo in is a mixing bowl. It is a very large bowl. And when you take a photo of it, it really doesn't do justice for how large that salad is. But that is a big, large amount of salad. I'll zoom in so you can see all of the wonderful details. And you just, name the ingredients that you see, right? So I always kind of like, man, salad, gosh, I wish I had some warm food or something nice. And then I actually sit down and I start eating the salad, and I love it. It's so satisfying. The flavors are amazing. Just being able to taste those flavors now too. Like, I talk about, every time I talk about salad, I talk about how much I hate cucumbers. Just wouldn't possibly ever eat cucumber other than when you pickle it. And then I'll eat pickles all day long, but just regular cucumbers, I hate them. Hated them. Now it's one of the best parts of the salad, that water, that moisture that you get from those salads. Hey, Carrie, just talking about how much I hate salads when I see it, but then love it once I start eating it. And yesterday was no exception. One of the differences Carrie did with the salad yesterday, if you look really closely, you can see some rice in there. I don't think we had ever had rice in our salad before. Before we've put like quinoa in there, but I really liked having the rice in the salad, added a new texture to it. There's carrots you can see, peas you can see, bell peppers, corn, carrots, cucumbers, spinach, all the fun stuff in there. And such a bright, vibrant salad. And so awesome, so delicious. So that was and there's sunflower seeds, and there was pumpkin seeds, and there was cabbage. So the pumpkin seeds were really good in that, actually, now that she says that. Like, I did notice that there was pumpkin seeds in there. There's something about that mouth feel of popping those seeds. And I feel the same way when it comes to brown rice, and I feel the same way when it comes to the oatmeal. Is just the act of just taking that little kernel and just popping it between your teeth. There's something instinctual about it. There's something that is, caveman brain kind of activates that I don't know what it is, but I do know that I really enjoy that part of it. Anthony says, thanks for the rice suggestion for the salad. Yeah, I never would have done it. And actually the parts that were the best is that it was old rice, but it wasn't like I don't believe, and I might be way off, but she didn't just cook this rice, but it was rice that she just took, and I don't even know if she heated it up, but scooped it in. And so then there were actually like balls of rice inside of there. And so every now and then you would get like this, little ball of rice that would have, that just kind of clumped together, added with the spinach and the carrots and the corn and just all of that flavor mixing together. But that texture of that sponginess of the rice really added to the experience as well. Carrie says that we usually have a vat of cooked brown rice in the fridge. So she just warmed it up a little bit and then tossed it on top. And she said she liked the texture as well. Yeah. It was, again, not something we'd done before, but it just added volume and added, one more ingredient to an already complex dish. So that was kind of the main star for dinner last night. Carrie also made up, this is another photo of me trying to, get some sort of perspective on the size or the volume of it. And then she also had picked up some asparagus. I believe she cooked those in the air fryer. And I have always liked asparagus. Usually, before we started the diet, though, we would take that asparagus, throw it on a cooking tray, take that spray can of oil, spray it all over there. Got to add those extra calories so that you could, you had to use the spray oil though, so that when you threw that big pile of salt on top of there, that it would actually stick to it. And then you would have these crunchy, salty, oily asparagus. This is air fried asparagus. It's just as good. I think it's better, but just eating it as asparagus without the added oil, without the added salt, it isn't missing those things. I'm not sitting there eating that asparagus going, man, I wish this had salt on it. And so, I think that just the way it grows and comes out of the ground, asparagus isn't, I don't mind eating raw asparagus too, but, Carrie likes to, burn her asparagus before she eats it. This, as she made it last night, was perfect for me. I really like it, and it's very easy to eat. Other than that big bowl of salad and the asparagus, I did give in a little bit, and I busted out the Crazy Richard's nut butter and had some Ezekiel bread with peanut butter last night. I figured the calorie density of that salad was super low overall. And so I kind of figured that between that and then throwing in the nut butter, that it would kind of even itself out. And it's fine. I'm down and I only checked the scale like 2 seconds before I got into the office, because I haven't actually even been in my office yet today until 15 minutes ago, because I had meetings outside of my office. And then Carrie said she did pick some more asparagus from our yard. We have a small patch of asparagus that grows in our yard. We're very fortunate that the property that we bought, the people that owned the property before us did a really good job with gardening, and they were into, I wish I would have started doing this 5-7 years ago, because we could have taken what they had already kind of developed and been doing and really done something with it. Whereas where we are at now, 5 years later, is that a couple of their flower beds we've just mowed over and allowed grass to come, into those areas. We have a couple apple trees that I wish that I would have done a better job with trimming and pruning and working those for the last 5 years, because they are really, there's a lot of growth going on inside those apple trees that would have been nice to kind of slow that down so that we would get a better yield of apples. We also had the biggest thing as far as food, I would have to say, is that they had a large area where they had raspberries that we really didn't do a very good job maintaining that at all. We could probably still go and pick some raspberries. It might be worth looking to see if there is any raspberries on there, but we don't really go to that part of our yard very much. It's kind of behind our house. And then one of the fence lines, they had grapes that were growing on that fence line. Again, we didn't maintain it at all. And they weren't really maintaining that before we moved in, but it's there if we wanted to go down there and really work on that. You said lots of poison ivy back by the raspberries. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess I haven't really been out there much. I had an unfortunate event where a few years back, went through and did quite a bit of work in our raspberry area to try to make it so that we could, pick some raspberries and make it something nice. And then my neighbor kind of approached me and was like, hey, I got this tree that's dead on my yard that I need to cut down. And the only direction that really works is to bring it down into your yard, right where your raspberries are at. And I let him do that, and it kind of wrecked the whole area a little bit, and I never went back out there because I already, I was probably 400 plus pounds at the time too. And so doing any extra work didn't sound like a lot of fun. It was a lot of work for me to do that in the first place. So we have access to a lot of these things like the asparagus. And that's the one thing that we've probably, it's very small, like 1 foot by 1 foot area where we have asparagus that grows, but it's enough that we can, have as much as I had on that plate last night, I suppose, as well. So, so that was dinner last night, had the Ezekiel bread. And then this morning I did have oatmeal again. Like I said, the scale was pretty kind to me here. I might check it again before I leave. But I am going to have to rein it in a little bit here. I got to figure out what I'm going to do weigh-in wise. I think that I'm just going to weigh in on my 40th birthday and make that my official 18-month weigh-in, my turning 40 weigh-in. Because I could weigh in Monday, which would be 18 months. I could weigh in Wednesday, which is the normal weigh-in day, or I could weigh in on Thursday, which is my birthday. And I think that I will probably just weigh in on my birthday to give myself the most time to get the weight down, I suppose. But I don't see any reason to weigh in Monday and then again on Thursday. Unless Monday I come in and somehow I'm magically under 300 pounds, and then I'll say, hey, let's weigh in Monday. But I don't think that's going to happen. So yeah, food was great. I had spinach this morning, oranges, cherry juice, kind of all the standard kind of stuff. Did I say spinach? We had oatmeal this morning with spinach in it, and then cherry juice and a few oranges, going through those very quickly. And then, just been busy with work, the Pleasure Trap book. I'm listening to that again at like 2 times speed. I really like a lot of the stuff they talk about in the book. One of the big things that they're going over in the part that I'm in right now is the Seams 2 strategy, or how to deal with people who are going to be, what is it? It's people that are going to fight you on your diet, and just kind of how to deal with people that get irate over the way you eat, and people that are, trying to push you to eat things that aren't on your diet. And like I said, I really like the Pleasure Trap book overall. It does a great job of explaining a lot of human psychology behind things. A lot of when you go to an event and somebody sees that you are eating healthy, them criticizing you isn't so much a reflection of you or what you're doing, but more a reflection on themselves, how they're feeling. They feel like when you choose not to eat animal products, or you choose not to eat cheese, or you choose not to eat even, apple cobbler, something that wouldn't necessarily have animal product. I guess it probably has butter in it, but even if you're choosing not to eat high sugar items, things with lots of fat in it, in their mind, you're trying to be better than them, and they have to kind of try to knock you down a peg. And it's not any reflection on yourself. It's more a reflection on them. I remember, and you'd have to go back and watch the stream the first time I watched it, but just that epiphany I kind of had listening to the book the first time, and kind of being like, it's not me, it's them in those situations. They feel attacked by your healthy diet, and that is not your intention. Nobody, so many of us go on a diet. We're only concerned about ourselves, that we're not attacking anybody. Now that I've been on the diet for 18 months, I might bark back at them if they gave me a hard time, and just kind of being like, well, because I feel like I am eating a very good diet, that I think that a large percentage of our population would benefit from eating a diet like this. But it has the appearance of being extreme because that's what the companies that are selling these highly processed foods, or these foods that are high in animal product, high in salt and oil and sugar, it is in their best interest to make it seem like people who don't eat their food are the weird people. And so you see it all over the place. You see a lot of situations. There's even it was funny, the television show Moon Knight. They kind of have one of the character that he's a vegan, but he's like the quirky guy. Like he's not it's a weird thing because there's a split personality, but it's his personality that is the quirky, kind of weak personality that is the vegan, whereas the big, strong personality is not a vegan, And so it is, it's something where they don't, it's not in their interest for people to eat from the produce section. They don't make money off of people buying tomatoes and buying potatoes. They make money off of people buying Hamburger Helper and buying the instant potatoes and the food that's already been packaged and processed, because that's the only way they can put a profit on those foods. If they were just selling you tomatoes, then there's no room for margin or no room for profit on tomatoes. Well, there didn't used to be, but now they did find a way to make a margin and a profit on produce. And that's because they put the word organic on it, or they do qualify it now so that they can make a profit on tomatoes by saying, oh, these tomatoes were grown in this situation or in this environment. When in reality, it's not that much different than the tomatoes that weren't processed that way. But it allows them to mark the price up. And so yeah, the book is talking about that. They go through a lot, and it's something where the Milgram experiment, I remember learning about this in college, and it is something that they go on for a long time in the book about. And it's essentially a study where they had two people come in to the school to do this study. One of them was the one person was conducting the test, and the other person was trying to do a memory test. And every time the person that did the memory test and they failed the memory test, then the other person they were studying would have to give that person an electronic shock. The more questions they got wrong, or the longer it took them to get the right answer, they would increase the level of shock that they gave that person. What the person doing the shocking didn't know is that the person being shocked was an actor. So there was actually nobody being harmed in the situation. But what the experimenters had hypothesized was that most people would quit shocking that person at a certain, maybe halfway point or a certain point, and that there would be very few people that ever actually hit the button to shock the person at the maximum amount, because it was marked like XXX, lethal. And what they found was that I believe it was like 40% of the people did the shocking all the way up to the maximum level, because they had somebody in a lab coat assuring them that they should continue on with the experiment. They never said anything about whether or not the person would be okay or not. They just said, hey, the study requires that you continue. And as long as they felt like they weren't the ones that were making that final decision, because there was lots of people that objected. They were like, I don't think that we should do this. And the people doing the actual study had a script that they would just be like, hey, the study requires that you continue. And because they thought that they were passing that responsibility onto a higher level, it made them more willing to do this action. And what that kind of shows in the diet world is that we will continue to harm ourselves and continue to eat junk food as long as somebody in a higher position than us in our perception is telling us it's okay. And so as long as, and we tend to rely on the government wouldn't allow them to sell something that would harm us. Like that's why we have the government. That's why we have the Food and Drug Administration, so that they protect us from what these evil corporations might be trying to do to us. And what we don't realize is that the people that run the FDA are former employees of these food manufacturers or future employees of these food manufacturers. And they are also the same people that write these laws. And so it doesn't do them any good to hurt each other. Anthony says Twinkies are good in moderation. Yes, just like cocaine is good in moderation, right? But yeah, as long as the Twinkie company is out there saying it's okay to have a couple Twinkies, then we have this idea that it must be okay, because it surely wouldn't have been able to make its way onto the shelves if it wasn't at least a little okay for you to have. And then, and so anyways, that experiment is an interesting experiment. If you haven't heard of it before, they do go into it at length in the book. It was, it's amazing how much that we give up our common sense or we give up our rational thinking when somebody else is telling us something different, and we just kind of go along with the crowd, because again, this is probably something that is, caveman brain, but you don't want to be the one caveman that is arguing with the other 20 people in the same cave, because those 20 people, they're going to kick you out. And so if you want to stay in the cave, you're just going to go with what they're saying to do or what the crowd is doing. And like I said, that's probably an instinctual thing, is that and also it's the path of least resistance, which they talk about in the book. Part of the motivational triad, is to conserve energy. And that's, avoid pain and conserve energy. And so we're going to do the thing that is going to keep us from having to live out in the elements on our own and have to deal with hunger kind of stuff. So that the book's going good. Again, I like it. I'm playing it at 2 times speed, so I'm flying through it. I probably only have a couple hours of listening left in it. And I'm not even certain that I'm going to finish listening to it all the way through. If something pops up that I decide to read before I finish it, I may do that, but I haven't decided what book I want to read next. There's been a few out there. If anybody has any recommendations, I'll take your recommendations on a good book to pick up. I feel like I've explored a lot of the plant-based books. There's a few doctors that I haven't read their books, like Neil Barnard, Dr. Ornish, and McDougall. I haven't read any of their books. The reason why with like the Ornish is it's directed kind of right at heart disease. There's other ones that are directed right at diabetes, and they're not conditions that I have directly had, suffered from. So it doesn't, they don't appeal to me as much, but I'm sure there's a lot of information in those books outside of what their specific kind of target is. And then, just working on things. I probably going to hop off of here now for the weekend. I'm going to have another busy weekend of working. I told Carrie, I think the reason why I lost 7 pounds is because I spent 15 hours at work last weekend as opposed to being at home. I probably have 15 hours of work I could do this weekend too. So I got to balance that or figure what I'm going to do with work. Lots of things going on. But I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope everything is going really well for you. I'd love to hear about your guys's success with sticking to the diet. That's the biggest thing, is to, get the plan going and stick to it, and to hold on to being 100% compliant as long as you can, because the longer you can go, the better benefits you're going to see. And Carrie says, boo work. Yes, boo work. You don't mind. Yeah, I'm not gonna. the fruits of my labor, we're not booing that though, right? Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I'm looking forward to being back on Monday, being at the 18-month mark. It's gonna be crazy. I'm going to be on the downhill side of this, just like isn't 40 when you get over the hill? They say I'm going to be over the hill in my diet and over the hill in real life. It's funny. I can remember we did something for my dad's 40th and we bought him a bunch of black birthday hats, stuff like that. I'm pretty sure that was his 40th. That's crazy. Anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I appreciate all of the support from everybody. Yeah, you guys are awesome. And if you haven't started your diet yet, get started right now. Nobody ever looks back and says, I wish I would have waited to get started. Everybody looks back and says, what was I thinking? If I'd have known how good I felt, I would have started so much sooner. So get started right now. Don't fall for the myths of moderation, the myth of moderate consumption. The idea that, Twinkies are okay in moderation is not the way to lose weight. It's not going to help you in any capacity to have a lot of that junk food. Also, the idea that you can eat, hey, instead of having dinner, I'll just have half a box of Twinkies and then that'll be my calories for the day. Your body doesn't work that way. Your body is designed to eat a volume of food. And when you give it that high calorie food and try to restrict the volume, your body says, okay, buddy, that's fine. We understand food's scarce right now, right? Because that's what our body, but after 6 months, your body's like, hey, food's still scarce. We shouldn't be in this environment anymore. We need to get moving. And so your body starts to trick you. Your mind starts to push you into making decisions that aren't the best decision. And when you eat a large volume of food and you go to bed with a full stomach and you go to bed satisfied, your body isn't looking to be satisfied anymore because it's getting the satisfaction. Also, the myth of moderate change, the idea that you can slowly introduce health food into your diet and eventually you'll start enjoying that health food instead of enjoying the Twinkies and the Snickers and the Kit Kats. You're out of your mind. If your goal is to make a huge change in your life, then you need to make huge changes in your life. So get started right now. Don't wait. Don't fall for the myths. I will see you guys on Monday.